Part 8. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 72. Wang Shuo and others kept adding wood to the fire and shooting arrows. 1 hour later, the charred bodies of bees outside had piled up into a small hill. They kept turning into fuel for the fire. Wang Shuo felt sorry for them. After a long time, perhaps they realized that this was a meaningless suicide, and the number of bees attacking the fire began to decrease. The remaining bees began to flee from here. The few remaining bees, with their last hope, planned to find a safe place to rebuild their homes. Wang Shuo climbed out of the puddle and was stunned by the scene in front of him again. Tens of thousands of bee corpses formed a high wall around the puddle. The air was full of the smell of burning. Clean up the battlefield, Wang Shuo sighed, moved by the bees' fearless spirit. Maybe one day, if humans encounter such a situation, will there be so many warriors who are fearless and brave enough to charge forward? Knowing that they will die, they still move forward bravely. It took another stick of incense to collect 23,000 energy crystals. After taking a last look at the canyon, Wang Shuo turned and left. Not long after Wang Shuo left, the women who had just escaped came to the canyon with dozens of female players. When everyone saw the scene in front of them, their eyes widened and their mouths opened, but no one made a sound. The leader of this group was a woman wearing a black gauze dress. She wore a black gauze on her head, and her big black eyes were very smart. After a while, she angrily scolded, "Is this the purple spirit flower you mentioned?" Oyu Fulan felt a little wronged and defended herself. To the boss, "When I left, I did find purple spirit flowers on the tree, but there were tens of thousands of bees hovering and guarding at the time, so I didn't dare to act rashly. On the way back, I found a dozen people nearby. They must have done it and robbed us of our things. To be able to kill tens of thousands of bees, the other party must not be an easy person to deal with. Let's just forget about it," the woman wearing a black veil said lightly. After Wang Shuo left, he walked for another hour before arriving at the entrance of Nanshan Market. At the entrance of the market, there was a stone archway with 3 big characters Nanshan Market written on it. Under the big characters, the same characters that Wang Shuo had seen at the entrance of the dungeon were also written. Wang Shuo guessed that this was the characters of the Beihai Empire period. If there is a chance, I must find a way to get a dictionary of this kind of characters and study it well. Walking into the archway, I came to a city gate and saw 4 soldiers standing on both sides. They did not check the passers-by. Wang Shuo couldn't help wondering, what's the point of them standing here? After checking, I found that the level and attributes were all question marks, and only the name could be seen. A soldier guarding the city, the level can't be checked? Wang Shuo was surprised. After asking Chang Gui, I found out that these soldiers were all level 60. Oh my god, who dares to act rashly in front of them will definitely be killed in one blow. Are they standing here just to prevent players from fighting in the market? Wang Shuo shook his head, smiled bitterly, and walked in with everyone. You have entered a neutral town. You cannot fight in Nanshan Market, otherwise the guards will attack you. It's true. In such a chaotic world, being able to have a safe place will definitely attract a large number of players. Compared with your own territory, the system town is more attractive. Wang Shuo was thinking, if he couldn't defend his territory, he could bring his people here to seek refuge. Perhaps, this is the way out that Lord Zack left for the players. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 73. Walking into the market, there are bustling crowds all around. These players, or refugees, are very different in their dress. Some were wearing cotton clothes, some were wearing suits, some were wearing animal skins, and even more were wearing various types of armor. The scale of Nanshan Market is not large, with only 3 streets. A main street, about 1 kilometer long, is paved with bluestones. The bluestone slabs have been polished very smooth, and some of them have even been broken in half. It looks like it's been there for some time. There are only low-rise houses on both sides of the street, and the tallest one is only a 2-story building. Most of the shops have been occupied by players, with various shops open. The street is very wide, at least 10 meters. On the busy street, there are still some people setting up stalls. Fish scale breastplate, blue quality, 5 gold pieces, first come first served. Freshly baked fee-long buns, added temporary buff. Big sword, come in and take a look, and don't miss it when you pass by. This miss may last a lifetime. Wang Shuo felt greatly relieved when he saw this lively scene. This was his first time to see so many people in this strange world. During the novice trial, I was always alone, and I was always on tenterhooks every day. At this moment, I once again realized the preciousness of being in human society. Boss, how do you sell these steamed buns? Wang Shuo saw someone selling steamed buns and wanted to try them out. As soon as he finished speaking, a big man wearing animal skin spit out the buns in his mouth and cursed, "You profiteer, this is not flying dragon meat at all, liar, please refund your money." The lean boss frowned and was not afraid at all. He raised his voice and argued, "I didn't say it was fee-long meat. I just called it xiao fee-long. The buns I made are called fee-long buns. Is there a problem?" Wang Shuo was shocked and speechless. It makes sense, but I can't argue with it. Immediately, he lost interest in this flying dragon bun, smiled, shook his head, turned and walked away. Hey, don't leave, these buns are delicious." Seeing Wang Shuo and his entourage turn around and leave, the boss became a little anxious. Wang Shuo waved his hand and did not look back. I really don't want to pay attention to the quarrel between the big man and the boss anymore. Along the way, Wang Shuo discovered that the items sold at some stalls simply refreshed his outlook. Some sell eyeballs, some sell ant sweat, and some sell rabbit droppings. There are also various strange plant and animal body parts. He is like a country boy who has never seen the world and comes to the city. Everything he sees is new. Of course, he had never seen such a world. Suddenly, a man in black robes and some books placed in front of him aroused his interest. Because it is full of secrets on exercises. He knelt down and took a closer look. Iron sand palm, Shen transformation art, heart stimulating palm. The pages of the book are a little yellowed, and it looks like it has been artificially aged. It is very different from the secret book I got. How do you sell your book, Mantis Fist? Wang Shuo asked. 50,000 gold coins. Is this secret book of martial arts so valuable now? Isn't this guy talking about the lion's mouth? Wang Shuo looked at the various yellow-level exercises in his backpack and instantly felt so rich. My heart felt like I had eaten honey. He walked and stopped, looking here and there. A shop in front of him caught Wang Shuo's attention. Li's grocery store. The main reason that caught Wang Shuo's attention was because it was big enough. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 74. Li's grocery store has 3 facades. In the display window, there is a fine tiger head knife. The sword shines under the refraction of the sun. This looks like a powerful businessman. As soon as I walked in, a shop assistant came to greet me. Welcome to our store, what do you need? We have weapons, blueprints, scrolls, everything. If you have materials that you want to exchange for money, we will also buy them. The shop clerk looked at Wang Shuo and his entourage with their extraordinary aura, and secretly guessed that this might be a big customer, so he was very enthusiastic. I'll just take a look first. Wang Shuo glanced at the hall and said casually. Okay. I would like to ask, is your guest a private player or a lord? The store clerk observed carefully and was a little unsure, so he still asked. Oh. What's the difference? Wang Shuo frowned and became wary. Don't misunderstand me. If you are a lord, I recommend you to go to our second floor. There are various bulk materials needed for territory construction. The first floor is mostly for weapons, supplies, etc. for mercenary players or gang players. Resources. Wang Shuo thought for a while and said immediately, take me to the second floor. Dear distinguished guest, you are invited to the second floor. Our boss is waiting for you upstairs. However, your entourage, please wait downstairs. After saying that, the shop assistant bent down towards the corridor. Wang Shuo was a little worried and said in a deep voice, I only bring one person with me, no problem. When the shop assistant was hesitating, a strong voice came from upstairs, no problem, please come upstairs. Wang Shuo was not polite and followed the store clerk up to the second floor. The furnishings on the second floor are very different from those on the first floor, but much smaller. There is a coffee table in the middle by the window and a few simple wooden chairs placed next to the coffee table. How do you call this, Lord? I am the owner of Li's grocery store, Li Yuki. The middle-aged man in rich clothes was full of wealth, with a smile on his face and said enthusiastically to Wang Shuo. My surname is Wang. Wang Shuo also said with cupped hands. Lord Wang, I am a guest from afar. Please sit down and drink a cup of hot tea first. Let's chat slowly. Li Yuki glanced at a maid beside him. After the maid came downstairs, she soon brought 2 cups of hot tea. Seeing that Wang Shuo didn't make any move, he picked up the tea bowl and took a sip. Seeing this, Wang Shuo also picked up the ceramic tea bowl and took a sip. Suddenly, the aroma of tea overflowed, filling his mouth with fragrance, and he felt very energetic. Ayub, on the other hand, stood beside Wang Shuo with an expressionless face. What a great tea! Li Yuki showed a smile on his face and agreed, this is Arl Jiazhuang's unique spiritual tea. It has the effect of refreshing the mind. Long-term drinking will be of great help to the growth of mental power. Wang Shuo was puzzled, where did this Jiazhuang come from? But at this time, he didn't ask any more questions. Jiazhuang is naturally in the outside world. This businessman named Li Wangke came from Stormwind City and was the agent sent by the famous local Li Chamber of Commerce into the Great Sephora territory this time. Businessmen are chasing profits. Seeing that new areas are being created, they naturally want to get involved in advance and want a piece of the pie. I wonder, Lord Wang, what do you want to buy this time? Li Wangke put down his tea bowl and asked calmly. Although Li Wangke was unable to bring in enough supplies from outside the territory. But he is familiar with the business process and naturally knows how to start business quickly. In a very short period of time, one of the most popular shops in Nanshan Market was acquired. Boss Li, what do you have here? What I need is materials that can speed up the pace of territory construction. Then you have come to the right place when you come to me. I am not only responsible for selling items, but also collecting items on behalf of customers. All kinds of basic materials are very abundant, and large quantities are advantageous. That's really great. How do you sell the tung oil here? Wang Shuo asked directly. 8 silver coins per unit. If you buy more, the price can be negotiated, Li Yuki said with a smile. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a commotion downstairs. Li Yuki's face darkened, he stood up, and was about to take a look down the stairs. Who on earth is so blind and dares to act wild here? At this moment, a group of people happened to rush in. Lord Survival, my shelter in Crocodile territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 75. The first person to rush up was Fan Chenyang. Brother Wang, you are indeed here. You are fine. Fan Chenyang forced a smile on his face, his tone was a little strange. However, he is smiling but not smiling. This group of people broke into the store directly and went straight to the second floor. They didn't take the store owner seriously at all. This made Li Yukai furious. "What do you want to do? Who gave you the courage?" he yelled. Fan Chenyang didn't say anything, but silently made way for a passage. In Nanshanji, everyone knew that Li's grocery store had a background that no one would dare to mess with. But now Fan Chenyang has just found a backer who can ignore Li Yukai. Yesterday, he wanted to become a core member of the Wild Wolf Gang. Today, he already looked down on the Wild Wolf Gang. He also wanted to thank Wang Shuo for giving him a chance to climb up to Niwu. At this time, Niwu walked out of the crowd. "The courage I gave you is enough." His voice was very low, not angry or authoritative. Niwu was wearing a sky blue robe, and his sharp eyes were hidden under his stern face. When Li Yukai saw this person, he twisted his eyebrows and was stunned for a moment. Then he was horrified and said in a trembling voice, Niwu. Wang Shuo felt uneasy after hearing this. Judging from the reactions of Dong Fangling and Xiefan yesterday, this person should be difficult to deal with. The eye of deception is activated. Only the name can be viewed, and no other information can be viewed. The level difference is at least 10 levels. Agi, you may have seen through this person. Back to Lord, this person is level 30. The visitor is not good. Although Wang Shuo was a little nervous, he didn't feel too scared when he thought that combat was prohibited in Nanshanji. The level 60 guards were not vegetarians, and he still had resurrection coins. "Your name is Wang Shuo," Niwu looked at Wang Shuo with a fierce gaze that could pierce someone. "I am. What's the matter with you?" Wang Shuo said in a neither humble nor overbearing tone. Ayub and Gongzheng were also silently on guard to prevent the other party from making an attack. "Where is Dong Fangling?" "I don't know, we separated last night," Wang Shuo said truthfully. The other party really wanted to capture Dong Fangling. "I know she left. I want to ask her where she went after she left," Niwu said impatiently. "I have no idea." Niwu frowned when he saw Wang Shuo's lack of energy. He took out the iron sword in his hand and returned it to its sheath in the blink of an eye. Just when everyone didn't know why. The large bronze shield on one side of the wall was split in half directly from the middle. "If there is any news about her, inform Fan Chenyang immediately." His voice was very calm, without any hint of threat, but it was full of undeniable flavor. After saying that, Niwu turned and left. During the whole process, Li Yukai was not even glanced at. "Brother Wang, if there is any news about Dong Fangling, you can come to me at the Iron Sword Gate," Fan Chenyang said with a smile, and looked at Ayub again, not too presumptuous. Wang Shuo's face darkened, and anger surged uncontrollably in his heart. It was obvious that he had been betrayed by Fan Chenyang. Yesterday, he invited himself to join the Wild Wolf Gang, but today he has become the lackey of the Iron Sword section. He is really a person with no bottom line. Wang Shuo silently wrote down Fan Chenjiang's name on the diary page. The frightened Li Yukai saw that everyone in the Iron Sword sect had left, so he slumped down on a chair and took a sip of tea to calm down his shock. "Boss Li, aren't you so afraid of him?" Wang Shuo asked softly when he saw Li Yukai's embarrassed look. Li Yukai also realized that he had lost his composure and coughed softly. After calming down, he solemnly said, "Oh, my Lord King, you don't know his reputation. In the entire Xinwu Empire, among the younger generation, there are only a handful of people who can challenge him. Moreover, this man is ruthless, killing people without batting an eyelid. To put it bluntly, I'm afraid you've never seen more people than he has killed. Is it so fierce?" Hearing Li Yukai's words, Wang Shuo's heart suddenly jumped and he couldn't help but raise his danger level again. "The business between us is temporarily unavailable. I hope Lord Wang can understand," Li Yukai said with apology. "Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 76. Wang Shuo was a little disappointed, but he also understood the other party's wise and self-protective measures. Although I can't do your business, you still have a choice. There is a system store in the market center, but the prices there will be higher than mine, Li Yukai said softly. Thank you, Wang Shuo clasped his hands and walked out of the store. Standing on the street, Wang Shuo felt quite depressed. This Niwu is really arrogant and bullying. Iron Sword Gate, Wang Shuo snorted coldly, clenching his fists with both hands and making a creaking sound. After walking a few steps forward, Wang Shuo found a restaurant in front of him. Fui restaurant. I happen to be a little hungry. Let's go in and have something to eat. The decoration of the restaurant is not very luxurious, but the area is not small. There are 10 tables in the lobby downstairs. At this time, a boy came up and greeted Wang Shuo and others warmly. Sir, please come inside, the young man said with quick movements and a smile. Are there any seats upstairs? Wang Shuo was a little unhappy when he saw the noisy hall. Sorry, sir, there are only 2 private rooms upstairs, and they are already full, the waiter looked embarrassed and said with a smile. He handled it carefully, for fear of upsetting the guests. This group of people were armed with strong weapons and exuded a faint smell of blood. At first glance, they looked like people who were decisive in killing. When I opened a restaurant in Nanshan City, I received players who were licking blood from their knives, and all of them were very angry. After Wang Shuo heard this, he thought again that he might be able to hear some relevant news about Nanshan Ji in the hall. So he said calmly, then let's go to the lobby. Everyone found a big table. After sitting down, they ordered some wine and food, and the dishes were quickly served. At this time, the bowl with food caught his attention. Wang Shuo took a closer look, with a look of surprise on his face. I saw that the container for serving food actually had its own mark. Wang Shuo felt very happy, as if he had found a long-lost relative. Call your boss over, Wang Shuo said to the boy. Hearing this, the boy had a look of panic on his face. I don't know what made the guest unhappy. I'm here to apologize to you. I'll change it right away, the boy apologized quickly. It's none of your business. Is your boss's surname Zhang? Exactly. Go and tell him that an old friend is visiting. The boy breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly walked towards the back hall. In the kitchen, Chef Zhang is instructing several apprentices in cooking. After hearing the boy's report, a look of confusion appeared on his face. How could there be an old friend in this place? Suspicious, he took off his apron and walked out. When he came to Wang Shuo's table, he was stunned for a moment, his mind was spinning rapidly, and he didn't remember who this person was. I wonder who you are, he asked tentatively, hoping that the other party could tell himself his family name. Are you Chef Zhang? Wang Shuo said with some surprise. Your Excellency, how do you know my name? Wang Shuo laughed, stood up, took a bowl in his hand, pointed at it and said, I made this. Chef Zhang suddenly realized, it turns out to be Brother Wang. He glanced at the big table again, and saw that the aggressive people were all headed by Wang Shuo, and he was horrified. Brother Wang, you are doing well. Gong Zheng, who was sitting next to Wang Shuo, immediately stood up and gave up his seat. Chef Zhang sat down and the two started chatting cordially. Both of them were filled with joy to meet acquaintances in this place. They told each other about their experiences during this period. The two entered this world and had a good personal relationship since they met. Now that we meet again, we feel a sense of mutual sympathy. Just as the two were reminiscing about old times, another wave of people walked in. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 77. This group of people are all women, and the leader is wearing a black veil. When Chef Zhang saw this group of women, he immediately stood up and said to Wang Shuo, "I will introduce you to a powerful person." He walked a few steps towards the door and said to the woman wearing a black veil, "Master Yuji, welcome to your presence." Wang Shuo also stood up. I guess the powerful person that Chef Zhang wanted to introduce was the Master Yuji. "I am the Lord of Wana Village, Wang Shuo. I am the Fiery Rose." Yuji. The black-veiled woman looked at Wang Shuo and his subordinates, and the pleasant voice came out from the black veil. Suddenly, Oyu Fulan, who was standing behind Yuji, stood up and shouted, "It was him who stole our purple spirit flower." This scream broke the calm and peaceful atmosphere. Only then did Wang Shuo notice that this woman was the one who led the bees to him and then ran away. He already had some dislike for her, and her act of turning the tables on him made Wang Shuo write her name on the diary page. For the sake of Chef Zhang, he did not get angry on the spot. "You stole my subordinates' things." Her tone changed, and her voice was a little cold. Wang Shuo's eyes flashed, and he glanced at Chef Zhang. In the end, he patiently explained the situation at that time. "Boss, it's not like that," he lied. O'Flan said angrily. Chef Zhang saw that the two sides were on the verge of a fight, and was about to make peace. Suddenly, there was a lot of noise on the street. "Go and see, the list is posted in the square." A large number of people ran towards the square in the center of Nanshan Market. "Humph! Let's go," Yuji snorted coldly, and left with O'Flan and others. Wang Shuo was also full of curiosity. In the past, didn't the rankings use the system announcement directly? Why is there a list this time? "Let's go and have a look," he said, looking at Chef Zhang. "Old Zhang, how much is this meal? Between you and me, what's the price?" "Just treat it to me," Chef Zhang said straightforwardly. "Well, I'll come to see you when I have time," Wang Shuo said with a smile. Following the flow of people, Wang Shuo soon came to the center of a small square. 3 huge stone tablets were erected on the square. There was a faint light flickering on it, and in the blink of an eye, some words appeared on it. At the same time, the system prompt sounded in the minds of every player. Changping County Personal Level List. First place, Ni Wu, level 30. Second place, Zhang Jinsheng, level 26. Third place, Xiefan, level 25. 10th place, Tian Wu, level 21. Wang Shuo looked and saw that Ayub's level was already level 21, but he was not on the list. I don't know if it was because he was a tool man, so he was not on the list. Changping County Village Strength List. First place, Wana Village, Wang Shuo. Second place, Zhuyuan Village, Sushiu. Third place, Feng's Village, Zhaotians. 10th place, Biang Village, Yangzishan. Changping County Comprehensive Strength List. First place, Ni Wu, Iron Sword Gate. Second place, Wang Shuo, Wana Village. Third place, Sushiu, Zhuyuan Village. 10th place, Zhujqui, Wild Wolf Gang. First place in each list, reputation add 500, second place reputation add 300, third place reputation add 100. Wang Shuo was surprised to see that he was on the list. But then he thought, although his level was very low, the huge amount of wealth in his backpack must be an important basis for reference ranking, so he was relieved. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 78. You should know that he now has more than 40,000 energy crystals, as well as skills, soul crystals, and other valuable things. Just as Wang Shuo was thinking about how he got on the list, people around him began to whisper. This Ni Wu is said to be from the outside world. He is level 30 when he first arrived. This ranking is not fair to us novice players. You better keep your voice down. If the people from the Iron Sword Gate hear you, be careful to peel your skin. SHH, I heard that Niwu is a man who kills without blinking an eye and is completely unreasonable. Look, the Wild Wolf Gang is on the list. I heard that their leader Zuchqi is already level 21, and he has issued a gang building order, officially establishing the Wild Wolf Gang. What's so great about that? If we have a gang building order, we will definitely be on the list. Come on, you, the Flame Rose, a bunch of little girls, how can you compare with others? What did you say? Oh, you full-on heard someone slandering the Flame Rose, and immediately scolded that person. Seeing that the person who spoke was you full-on, the middle-aged man who had been talking loudly just now was immediately scared, so it turns out that you are one of the 5 golden flowers of the Flame Rose. I was rude just now. I hope that the lady will not bear grudges and forgive me this time. Get lost. Don't let me see you again. Yuji looked at the list and murmured, I didn't expect that Wangshuo would be so powerful. In Nanshanji, the strength of the Flame Rose is second only to the Wild Wolf Gang. There is no room for 2 tigers in one mountain. There is a high possibility that conflicts will break out in the future. She must find someone to form an alliance. She regretted her reckless behavior just now. Suddenly, the system announcement sounded again. Please note that all Lord players, after 1 day, wild monsters will begin to invade the village. After hearing the system announcement, Wangshuo quickly opened the task column. Side quests. 1 Wild monster invasion. Wild beasts in the wild will clear the villages within their sphere of influence under the leadership of the group leader. Please be prepared to resist. There was only this one side quest left. The previous town search quest had been completed and disappeared. Wangshuo curled his lips and complained, the quest was completed, but there was no reward. After thinking for a while, Wangshuo immediately decided to go to the system shop first to buy supplies, and then hurried back to his Wana village. After walking hundreds of meters along the street, Wangshuo finally found the system shop that Li Yukai mentioned. The shop occupies a larger area than Li's grocery store, and the 4 words system shop were written in large gilded characters on the plaque. Entering the hall, Wangshuo found that there were no containers, only a few NPCs standing there. There were also few players entering, which seemed a bit deserted. Wangshuo walked over and asked, "Do you have tung oil for sale here?" Wangshuo asked an NPC. This was one of the supplies that Wangshuo and Chang Gui decided to buy after discussing. "Of course, I wonder how much you want to buy," the NPC clerk asked mechanically. At this time, an electronic display suddenly appeared in front of Wangshuo. The price of 1 unit of tung oil is 10 silver coins, which is 2 silver coins higher than the price in Li Yukai's shop. When doing business in Nanshan Market, the selling price in the shops is basically lower than that in the system shops, and the purchase price is higher. The system shop is like a price management bureau, which invisibly controls the prices of goods in the market. Wangshuo directly bought 10,000 units. The beasts besieged Wana village, and the amount of tung oil used must be as much as possible. Wangshuo checked other items again. The price of the system weapon was 100,000 gold coins, which made Wangshuo give up directly. It is more cost-effective to go to Zhaobang to brush military merit points. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 79. The red medicine that replenishes health costs only 1 gold coin a bottle here, and Wangshuo also bought 10,000 bottles. There were other items, such as feathers, cotton, and various crop seeds. Wangshuo also purchased many. The rest is food. Wangshuo also bought rice and flour for 5,000 gold coins and filled everyone's backpacks before stopping. Now the growth cycle of farmland has become longer. If the village is surrounded and the access to the outside world is cut off, and if there is not enough food, then barbecue will be there. After the purchase was completed, Wang Shuo was eager to return home. He was afraid that if he went back too late, he would hear the bad news from the system that Yerwana village has been destroyed. The cavalry team galloped along the grassland at high speed. Not long after, I saw a large group of people in the distance. Wang Shuo immediately reined in his horse and took out his telescope to check the situation. After seeing it clearly, Wang Shuo couldn't help but smile bitterly. What a fate! There was another group of horse bandits in front of them, and what was even more incredible was that the person they surrounded was Dongfang Ling. This girl is quite unlucky. When Wang Shuo was hesitating whether to rescue him, the other party actually separated half of his men and rushed over. Oh, I didn't cause trouble for you, but you came here to cause trouble for me. Anger rose in Wang Shuo's heart. Prepare for battle. The cavalry squad, led by Ayub, began to charge. Cavalry charge, increase the movement speed of your own troops by 30% and increase defense by 10% for 30 minutes. Ayub activated his skill. The cavalry squad medal provides a 20% speed bonus, and coupled with Ayub's skill acceleration, the speed is directly increased by half. Within a few breaths, the two groups of people collided. Because the horse bandits on the opposite side did not have anyone with strong combat power, they could serve as arrows for the charge. Facing Ayub, such a fierce general was immediately dispersed from the formation. More than a dozen horse bandits were knocked off their horses in this round of attacks. Wang Shuo was very happy when he saw that his troops were invincible. This is simply giving away experience and horses. What makes Wang Shuo even more happy is that its equestrian level has been upgraded with continuous use. Level 2 equestrian skills make him more comfortable fighting on horseback. Turning the horse's head, Wang Shuo planned to charge again. The third leader of the horse bandits not far away frowned when he saw this situation. A bunch of trash. He cursed, turned the horse's head, and the long axe in his hand slashed through the air with a sound of breaking through the air. Ma Bandit, ID, Bandit 20014 Dolaku, Junior General, 3rd Master of Pegasus Village. Level 22. Attack power, 270. Defense, 80. Health value, 3000. Skills, 3 axe, copper wall and iron wall. Wang Shuo detected the information about this tall and strong man. He was actually a military commander. Wang Shuo showed a solemn expression. Dolaku's attack power is as high as 270 points. This is the opponent with the highest attack power that Wang Shuo has encountered so far. At the same time, he also noticed that the health value of humanoid monsters was lower than that of beast monsters. The crocodile lizard I encountered before was only at level 15 and already had 6,000 health points, while this Doriku was at level 22 and only had 3,000 health points. However, the combat prowess of beasts and humanoid creatures cannot be compared at all. Facing junior generals, Wang Shuo was still a little frightened. Suddenly, he thought that he seemed to have 17 purple spirit flowers, each of which could increase his agility by 5 points. Although each person can only take it once, which is a bit regretful. Taking it at this time can enhance your own strength, which is naturally excellent. He quickly took out the purple spirit flowers and gave one to each person. Take it quickly. Wang Shuo was the first to eat it. It tasted a little sweet. The system prompt sounded. His agility value reached 23 points, and his movement speed and attack speed were both increased. Very good. The generals of the horse bandits are rushing over, ready to fight. Wang Shuo immediately shouted to his men. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 80. At this time, everyone showed a solemn look. Wang Shuo was even more worried about whether Ayub could take the opponent's most terrifying first blow. Doliku used a long axe. This kind of weapon has a very strong first blow. Of course, the consumption of physical strength is also very fast. Therefore, Wang Shuo made up his mind to consume the opponent's wave first. The opponent's attack power is 270 points. At present, it is impossible to kill one of his own people with one knife. As long as he is not hit in the vital parts and causes serious injuries, it will be considered a profit. The rumbling sound of horse hooves was stirring on the grassland. Ayub and Doliku, like two trains, drove towards each other quickly, both of them with an indomitable momentum. Clang! The Qing longsword and the long axe collided in the air, and the huge impact force almost shook the two people to the point of losing their weapons. However, Doliku was still a step ahead, because he did not lose blood, while Ayub lost 10 points. Then, the other members of the cavalry squad, each with a weapon, attacked Doliku. This was not the time for a one-on-one duel. Gongzheng crossed his bronze hammers above his head and blocked Doliku's powerful vertical chop. Wang Shuo seized the opportunity and stabbed his chest with his spear. Dragon attack. After a short period of charging, a dragon-shaped spear force hit his chest directly. -1. What? I only did this little damage with my ultimate move. After passing by, Wang Shuo quickly checked the battle log. The opponent used the skill Iron Wall to defend against your dragon strike. After a long time, it turned out that this guy used a defensive skill. Wang Shuo felt that this wave was a bit of a loss. In the first confrontation, the opponent was 1 against 10. The three main outputs of his side only caused 1 point of damage to the opponent. The combat power of the generals was so terrifying. Looking back, Wang Shuo found that Bailey Liang and others behind him still found an opportunity to attack, causing him nearly 100 points of damage. Finally, he regained some face. Ah! The injured Doliku roared and said angrily, "A bunch of idiots. Take another axe from Grandpa." As he said that, he jumped on his horse again. The second round of confrontation between the two sides began. With the experience of the first time, both sides adjusted their tactics. Doliku used blocking moves for the attacks of Ayub and Gongzheng, and focused on attacking Wang Shuo. When the long axe came, Wang Shuo deeply felt the power of the general. The flaming gun was chopped and rotated 360 degrees in the air. If his horsemanship had not been upgraded to level 2, this collision would have directly knocked him off his horse. Even though he defended the vital points, Wang Shuo was also seriously injured. He was directly beaten to vomit blood and lost 200 health points. Doliku was not feeling well either. The cavalry squad and the others all caused him damage. His body was covered with wounds, and his armor was stained red. No matter who he targeted, others could effectively hurt him. This was a typical wolf pack tactic. Doriku, who was confident and arrogant, could not resist the opponent's shameless tactics alone. He shouted to his remaining men, "What are you still looking at? Tear them apart." Dongfang Ling, who was surrounded, was very happy to see Wang Shuo and others fighting the bandit leader. "Hey, stinky boy, are you here to save me?" Because the distance was a bit far. Wang Shuo heard it as, "Hey, stinky boy, are you a funny guy hired by the monkey?" Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 81. Wang Shuo was immediately upset. Seeing the more than 20 horse bandits rushing over again, Wang Shuo did not dare to take it lightly and immediately shouted, "Quick battle, deal with Doliku first." The attack power of ordinary horse bandits is limited, and it is not a big problem to be hit by a few knives. If he caught the flaw of Doliku's attack and attacked continuously, it would be fatal. So Gongzheng took the risk of being hit by the long axe and directly hugged the axe with both hands. This attack cost him nearly 500 health points, which was a huge price. If Ayub and others had not attacked in time, Gong Zheng would have been lifted into the air by Dolichu's axe. If he was lifted into the air by the axe, Gong Zheng would have been in great danger. Wang Shuo also quickly drew his gun and stabbed Dolichu's back waist directly, but the opponent's hard armor blocked the damage. Gong Kai, who had been unknown all the time, found the right angle and shot an arrow at the horse's foot. Shoot the horse first before shooting at the person. One strike will do the trick. The war horse neighed, and its two front legs suddenly bent and fell forward. Dolichu and Gong Zheng both fell off their horses and rolled on the grass. Good job, Gong Zheng, you have done a great job. Before, everyone had thought about killing the opponent's warhorse first. But Dolichu, who was swinging a hatchet tightly, protected the horse's head in front and the horse's tail in the back, and had no chance at all. Gong Zheng held the hatchet, which exposed Dolichu's flaw. Purple thunder breaking sky strike. Ayub saw Dolichu lying on the ground, like a living target, and directly launched a big move. -800. A huge damage value appeared on his head. This strike was directly equivalent to the sum of the damage they had caused to Dolichu before. Wang Shuo was shocked that Dolichu's defense was so high. He still remembered that the last time he saw Ayub use this strike, he directly dealt 1200 damage. Just when Wang Shuo was about to make another move, an arrow flew towards his forehead. "Lord, be careful," Gilaji exclaimed. Wang Shuo immediately turned around, retracted his spear, and deflected the arrow in front of him, but the attack on Dolichu was also resolved. The rest of the horse bandits finally arrived. Wang Shuo thought to himself that it was not good. Don't let him get up. The cavalry squad surrounded Dolichu, while the horse bandits surrounded the cavalry squad. The two sides fell into a stalemate of close combat. The advantage of the cavalry was greatly weakened, but it was the same for both sides. The people in the cavalry squad were constantly injured and their health began to drop. Wang Shuo was very anxious. Fortunately, he had bought some big red medicine before, so he could still hold on. At this time, Dong Fangling also rushed over, and she seemed to be indifferent to the war that was happening. She smiled at Wang Shuo excitedly. "Wang Shuo, I'm so glad to see you." Wang Shuo rolled his eyes at her and said unhappily, "You're too happy too early. Can't you see we're surrounded? Just a few petty thieves, for you, it's easy to catch them." She smiled and continued happily, "If you can't beat them, I'm still here. I'm very powerful and can protect you." Wang Shuo despised her in his heart. She was surrounded by a group of horse bandits and asked me to rescue her. She dared to say shamelessly, "Protect me." Who gave you the courage? You'd better protect yourself. Wang Shuo was no longer distracted and focused on dealing with the horse bandits in front of him. Wang Shuo had practiced the basic moves of dragon spear art such as point, stab, pick, chop, and collapse very well. Although he was under siege, he still handled it with ease.